Alright, so this is my Sprint 1 for my on-the-go fridge. So what I achieved over this sprint was I was able to implement the create account feature, and it uses Firebase for authentication and database storage for the user profiles. That just allows for when you log into that said the set account you just created, it verifies what your password and your email was. And as I just mentioned, well, kind of segueing into it, I added the login feature, which uses the authentication. I also added an account page to where the user could update their information like a password, display name, and zip code. And I also made it to where they could add a profile picture as that's a image URL. So as a user, I want to move the mouse over the create account icon in the top right hand corner so that I can create a new account. The user must click the create account icon button. The user has clicked if the user has clicked the button, then it should navigate the user to the account creation. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the phone, and I'll go ahead and I will boot up the program. All right. So as you can see, we can go up here and we can click this button right here. And that right there allows us to come into the next part. As a user, I want to enter an email so that part 1 of creating an account is finished. The user must enter an email address that contains an @ symbol. The user must enter an email that also contains a period. And then the user must enter a email that has not been previously used. So I'll go ahead and I'll enter an email. Actually, we'll go. So there's that. And so it's a valid email since it contains both that. I'll go ahead and I will just go push 1. Now it's a not valid email, so as a user, I want to enter a password that is secure and I can remember so that a part 2 of creating an account is finished. A user must enter a password that is at least 6 characters long, and if a user does not enter anything or is less than 6 characters, the user will get an invalid password. So as you can see right here, I'll just go ahead and press this button again, and so we'll go ahead and we'll put in a valid password. So it's over 6 characters, or it's exactly 6 characters. So now it's valid. Now if I get rid of 1, now it's 5 characters. Now it's invalid. Also, if I leave it completely blank, still invalid. So as a user, I want to enter a display name that people can recognize me by so that part 3 of creating an account is finished. The user cannot leave the display name section empty, and the user's display name must be at least 3 characters long. So we'll go ahead and oops. So I'll go ahead and I'll put in an entire, so I'll just go with my name. So now it's valid. So now if I just go with LO, now it's invalid because it has to be at least 3 characters long. As a user, I want to replace the null in the zip code box with my zip code so that the final part of creating an account is finished. The user must change null to a zip code. The user may only enter numbers for the zip code to be valid, and the user must type a zip code that is exactly 5 characters long. So as you can see, right now it's invalid because there's just a null in there. If I remove it, and let's say I'll put 4 1s in there, still invalid. If I put 5, now it's a valid. Oops. As a user, I want to press the Create Account button so that I can finish creating my account so that I can begin using the app. If the user presses the account creation button, an invalid section should show up red. If the user presses the Create Account and everything works, a pop-up screen will appear confirming the account was created. After the user clicks the creation button, whatever the details he or she entered will be saved in the Firebase database. So you can see this is what it looks like when it's created successfully, and when it's not, it will show like in red where I demonstrated earlier when something is invalid. I'll go ahead and I will pull up the Firebase so that we can I can show you that it's been created. So, and oops. I don't know what's going on here. Alright, so as you can see right here, this is the email we used. So the one at uco.edu, and this is the authentication. Also the database and the user profile. Now there is the rest of the information contained. As a user, I want to type in my email address so that I can satisfy the part of the login requirement. The user cannot leave the email area blank. The user must enter an email that is registered to an account stored in the app's Firebase database and authentication. So we'll go ahead and go back. So if I enter, like say, 11@uco.edu as of right now, I'll just enter So, oops. As you can see, since there's no record, since I typed in the wrong email, as a user, I want to type in my password so that I can finish the requirements for logging in. As the user types in the password in the app should obscure the password in order to stop people from seeing the password. The user must enter the password associated with the email or he or she, otherwise the login will fail. So, as you can see, I'll go ahead and I'll demonstrate it again. As you can see, as you type, it obscures it, so where no one looking over your shoulder can see what the password is. If I enter the wrong password, it gives me an enter a valid password. If I enter the right password, then we get a login. As a user, I want to press the login button so that I can proceed to the home page. If the user enters both the email and the password right, he or she will get a pop-up message stating that the login was successful. If the user enters either the email or the password wrong, he or she will get a pop-up message stating that the login had failed. After the user successfully logs into the app should automatically navigate to the home page. So as you can see, that's what it looks like when it's successful. I'll go ahead and I'll back out and I'll re-log in with the wrong password just to show what it looks like when it doesn't. So this is what you get when it failed. So, and then we'll go ahead and demonstrate again. So, and this is the home page for now. So as a user, I want to navigate to the account page so that I can begin updating my information. For the user to navigate to the home account page, the user must press the button in the top left corner of the screen to show the button to go to the account page, Once the user presses the account page button in the side menu, it should redirect the user to the account page. So for me to see the button for the account page, I have to go over here and select this button in the top left corner. As you can see, it shows your information right here, and then there's the account page. So now it redirects you to the account page, the user page. As a user, I want to navigate to the account page so that I can, damn it, oops. So, oops, there we go. As a user, I want to be able to enter an image URL so that I can change my profile picture from the standard picture. The user must fill in the URL box for the update information to work. The URL given must contain HTTP for it to be considered valid. And once the URL has been entered by a user, the picture above should change to the picture at that URL. So I've entered that now. And as you can see now, if I go back, it is now a picture of Deadpool. As a user, I want to be able to enter a new password so that I can begin the process of updating my password. The current password for the user's account should appear in the box upon load, but should be obscured. The user should be able to change the password to whatever they like as long as it's 6 characters long. So I can go ahead and demonstrate that. So I can change this to, let's just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 ones. All right. And notice how it is obscured. As a user, I want to be able to change the current display name to anything I want so I can make changes. The current display name should be in the display name upon loading into the account page. The user can remove the old display name and replace it with whatever, as long as it's at least 3 characters long. So I can go ahead and I can change this to ltherm. As a user, I want to be able to change my zip code so that if I've moved, I can have the correct zip code for my account. The current zip code should be in the display box upon loading into the account page. The user can remove the old zip code and replace it with whatever as long as it's exactly 5 characters long. The user must only enter numbers for it to be a valid zip code. So I'll go ahead and change this to, let's just go. So as a user, I want to be able to press the update account button so the changes I've made are permanent. When the user clicks the update account button, the old information in the Firebase database is replaced. When the user clicks the update account button, a pop-up will notify if the account has updated. When the user clicks the update account button, a reset password email should be sent to the registered email. And if the user incorrectly enters something in the sections, they will change to red and give a tip. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and change accounts real fast so I can demonstrate the email or the password reset. All right, update account. So I'll go ahead and I'll bring this over. Oops. Bring this over here. And so we'll go here. Display name is that. So now you see